Hi.
Hello.
How's it going? You got me with my podcast equipment set up because I just got off.
I can see that. I have mine too, but I decided to go earless today.
Well,
But
you sound good.
oh, good, perfect, perfect.
How's your
How are you?
cough?
How
I'm
are you?
great. I'm great. I'm doing so well. Are you feeling a little bit better?
A little better than yesterday. I might be just sipping a little bit while we chat in case I cough up a lung or something. My goodness, this
You
is
take as many sips as you need, sir.
yes. Hopefully, some tea as well.
Yeah.
Okay. Um, there is so much fun stuff to talk with you about.
Yay.
Um, Las Culturistas just celebrated its 300th episode, and you have so much going on with that, with
Mhm.
the awards at the Lincoln Center. How awesome is that?
It's really a blast. I mean, Bowen and I just brought a producer on for that event, and we just looked at a run of show for it today, and we are going to fully blow it out like a real awards show with performances, guest presenters. Bowen and I are going to be fully hosting the event. There might be a costume change or two. There's going to be lights, camera, action, everything you could want in a fully 100% fake awards show hosted by me and Bowen, you're gonna get. We are gonna really blow it out. So that's gonna be so fun, and everyone should come on June 18th, outdoors Lincoln Center.
I cannot wait to
Summer
cover it.
on the city.
Yes, even from afar, I cannot wait to cover it. This will
Oh
be
yay!
too much fun.
It's gonna be fantastic.
Um, let's get to I love that for you.
Sure.
Where you play Darcy Leeds, a senior associate, not assistant,
Mhm.
to Jenifer Lewis's QVC style kind of CEO.
Yeah.
Now, we don't know that much about Darcy's background. So, do you create backstories for your characters yourself to inform you once you have the script?
There was a conversation about who he was and has been up to the events of the series, and I think that that helped me color it in a bunch, and it actually really spoke to a sort of character bio that I had created for myself, so everyone was really on the same page about who he is and why he does what he does in the show. He's someone who I think is from a um small town outside of Philly. He has never been exposed to nice things. I think he has a very working class background. And now that he has an opportunity to work in this environment where he's taken seriously and he's in very close proximity to this woman he looks up to very much, and she's very wealthy, and he is exposed to the finer things in life, he is hungry for more. He's someone who desperately wants to be taken seriously and takes himself very seriously. I actually think those are the funniest people. People who take themselves super, super, super seriously. I've always, whenever I've created characters, that's always been a running theme throughout them. And so I'm lucky enough to book this role. Um, he really wants to be the Emily Blunt of this environment, if we're mapping it onto Devil Wears Prada. And I think he's pretty good at doing that. However, I don't think that he is as comfortable being cruel as he wants to come off. I think that when you work in a toxic work environment, uh you sort of start to adopt characteristics of the leaders in those environments because you want to become one. And I think that over time you realize with Darcy that that's not actually working for him. And he's very sensitive and um, certainly not impenetrable.
For sure. I think you're right. I think Darcy does have a very clear need to be taken seriously. And you
Hmm.
play the comedic and the dramatic aspects of that really, really well.
Thank you, Eric.
Um, how did you want to kind of escape the idea of a gay assistant trope, but still mine it for the inherent comedy that's kind of there?
Yeah, so the thing about the gay assistant is I think that, historically we've just sort of seen them not serve a dramatic or narrative purpose. And so that was something that I felt really confident was going to happen in this show, just because I know the creators well, Vanessa Bayer, Jeremy Beiler, and Jesse Klein, who is the showrunner. I just really trusted them to not make this a one-note character. And when you meet him in the pilot, as is the case with, I think, all the supporting characters in the show, they do sort of present as those, 2D like types of people in a workplace. And I think what's so special about the show is that's actually one of the themes. It's about how you present versus what the reality of your character is. So they're all sort of very used to playing these roles, these very well defined roles in the workplace, and therefore on a TV show that depicts the workplace. But what I think is special about the show, and what I think actually like is explorative about the themes of the show, is that the second you dive in even a little bit deeper, you realize that the insecurities and the interests and the ticks of these people actually haven't really been seen on TV before. And as the show moves episode to episode, it actually becomes a pure and simple workplace ensemble comedy in a way. So I know the pilot presents as a character study on Joanna, but this is really a character study of people in a toxic workplace environment. And I think it's actually sort of in that way a riff on all the workplace sitcoms that have come before it and that may come after it, because people are not just coming in, hitting their beats and saying what the assistant says. You know what I mean? We actually move away from that show pretty quickly, and the relationships are very different than I think people might expect. Like, there are moments in the show where my character speaks up and talks back to Jenifer Lewis. There's moments in the show where, me and Beth Ann, who's like the bitchy on-air antagonist towards Joanna, like, we're not just conspiring in the corner. We pretty quickly, you see what the cracks in our relationship are. So it's not just face value. And when I got this role, I was excited because at the top of episode 2, you find out what my goals are. And for me, someone who's very aware that I'm on a show with Molly Shannon, Jenifer Lewis, and Vanessa Bayer, and those are the actresses that are being served, for me to get that script and see right up top of the episode that comes right after the pilot that I was being explored, made me say, okay, this is going to be something special. And by the end of the season, it was confirmed, because he's in a very different place at the end of the first season than he is in the beginning.
Yeah, I think at the time of us chatting now, the 3rd episode aired last Sunday. 4th episode is next. I just finished episode 6 yesterday.
I love episode 6.
Oh my gosh. And like you said, it all ties into what's really the theme of the show, and that is how you present yourself and how you want to be seen, which is also so much, a great mirror for what, something like QVC or what the show's network is like.
Right.
It works very well.
Yeah, I think that so I really love that it's set at a home shopping network, because the thing about retail therapy is it works for a second. You know what I mean? And all these people are trying to sell something to everyone around them. In the case of Joanna Gold, she's trying to sell a lie to everyone watching and all her coworkers. But on a micro level, all of these characters are trying to sell an image of themselves. And in Darcy's case, I think he's really trying to sell it to himself. He really wants to believe that he is the type of person that can hold that bag that Patricia owns and make everyone believe that guy is supposed to be holding that bag. I want to take him seriously, because he's insecure. I mean, he's treated badly by his boss. His best friend doesn't listen to him when he talks. And so when he's cruel to Joanna, I think it's because it's one of the very few times he's powerful at all. I think he's a gay man who's without any gay friends. I think he makes his job his entire life. And when he starts to feel devalued at work, and he's made his work his entire life, he feels depressed and anxious, and he does sketchy stuff.
Yes, he does, which viewers will see
Yeah.
very,
I'm
very
really excited that we're getting to the point where everyone can see just how good the show is, because I think as a piece, as an 8-episode season, it's going to be something really special. And I think when reviewers just saw the first 2 episodes, I think it's like this is a show that you really seep into the character dynamic. So by the end of the first season, it's a totally different show than you would have assumed it was by just watching the first 2 or 3. You know
yeah.
what I mean? I think now you can see that. So it's exciting to know that the word of mouth is going to get good, and then people will be able to watch it as a whole, and I think really appreciate it.
Yeah, I mean, I loved it from the beginning. I'm such a fan of Vanessa Bayer, and I think she hits exactly the right note for this character. So
Right. I
uh,
love her too.
I keep thinking about Darcy as a person, and like we just talked about, sort of creating the person that he is for people, and I can't help but think that it started with that name, because there's no way that that is like a real name of
I
this
have a theory that that's not his name.
really.
Yeah.
Okay,
I have a theory
I do
that
too.
that's
What's
not his
yours?
name. Well, so I was talking to one of the writers about this, my one of my dearest friends, Sudi Green, and I was like, I'm just thinking, like, there's no way this is his name. I think he probably saw Pride and Prejudice in high school and then said, when I go to college, I'm going to start introducing myself as Darcy. I think his name is probably like Anthony. I think that, I think that he is projecting a lot more than we can ever know. And I don't know if he actually has an identity as much as he has an identity that he has constructed for everyone else. And honestly, I identify with that, because what he's doing is code switching in an environment like in a workplace. And he knows he has to be a different person for everyone else. With Joanna, he has to let her know that he's the boss. With Patricia, he has to let her know that he is indispensable to her and that he can take it if she gives it. You know what I mean? Like, there's no one there that's going to be more reliable than him. With Beth Ann, he is, I think, at least he thinks, the most pure version of himself, because he genuinely thinks of her as his friend and then is disappointed when that relationship starts to falter. And, through all of that, I think we have yet to see him, like, really in a moment of quiet. You start to see who he really is. That is until we get to the midseason and end of the season, in the
Yeah.
moments where you realize just how desperate he is and just how unhappy he is. But I understand what it is to feel like, in order to survive, you have to create a persona. I mean, I did it through the first probably 22, 23, 24 years of my life. Like, I came out of the closet at 19, and I remember I had done such a good job of constructing this identity for myself all through high school. I mean, I was prom king at my high school. Like, I'm like the king of code switching. Like, I really got good at being what I thought my high school needed me to be.
Yeah.
And then when I went to college, it was funny because all of a sudden I went to NYU and there's all these out gay kids. And I was like, oh, they're not going to want me to be this thing that I was in high school. So let me now try again to be something that works for me here. And you do that so much when you are in a society that tells you you must, and I think that he is, a 30-year-old gay man who doesn't have a lot of friends and has made work his entire life, and he will do whatever it takes to succeed there. But also at the same time, he's getting unhappy and desperate, and he will break.
Well, this is kind of what we've always been told. I certainly grew up the same way, where I was, we've kind of always had to be chameleons for the situation that we were in. And I would always adapt to the group of people that I was with,
Yeah.
or the place that I was at, to not to cause less strife, but just to, I don't know,
Yeah.
survive.
I mean, you see it in the show, like when Jenifer Lewis is there and she is saying something to Joanna. Even the way I tried to look at Vanessa, or the way I would speak to her, is different than when she and I are just together by ourselves. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? And like when I have a great opportunity to have scenes with Molly, you know, he is going to always make sure that he knows that she is his number one. And I think you just do what you have to do to survive, because you never want to look weak.
Yeah.
You never want to look expendable. You never want to look like you're not ready. And so he has worked so hard and is so good at his job. And I've seen this happen, and I've done it. Like code switching in your environment in order to succeed and survive is something that people do professionally, personally, all over. And so that was my inspiration for the character.
Yes. And that's not to say that the show isn't still absolutely hilarious, because it is constantly hilarious, and it subverts itself all the time, where yes, there's like some biting and cutting comedy, and then you'll just get this injection of, whether it's profanity or vulgarity, that is so hilarious and just makes you sit up, and I love it.
The show has a lot of energy, and you know, it's a great ensemble, and everyone is so good at their roles that it really just it feels like a cohesive work environment, because it is a cohesive work environment. You know what I mean? And there is something about each actor that really directly speaks to their character in a way. It's really, really well cast. I will say, you know, our casting director, Sherry Thomas, is just so great and thoughtful, and she really put together a great ensemble. And that even goes down to, you know, our guest stars. You know, John O. Wilson, who plays Perry, is just so great. And he, towards the end of the season, gets a lot more to do. And I'm so excited for people to see what might be coming with his character and how he interacts with all of us. But down to the bone, I mean, these people are really, really, really just right for the part. And they're all extremely nice as well. So as much as, you know, it's a toxic work environment on screen, I almost don't think we would be able to achieve that if it wasn't a great work environment in actuality.
That's perfect. I was gonna ask you that anyway, but yeah, it is a really flawlessly casted show. I'm
Thanks.
obsessed. I think Aiden Mary is
Oh, she's so great.
thing. And
In the 6th episode, she really tears it up too. I feel like that was like our 6 and 7 are like Darcy and Beth Ann's episodes, and you really see like just how fed up they are with their current realities, and how everything that has come in the first 5 episodes, like the strength that they pretend they have, the confidence they pretend they have, is all completely fake. And I love the way that manifests.
Yeah, I think her and John O. Wilson really get to flower quite a bit, and it's great. It's great that sort of everyone has at least an episode of that. But it's, oh my god, the last shot in episode 6.
Yeah. So good.
Teasing. So I can't wait.
Well, that's the thing, is it's like, you know, actually episode 6, 7, and 8 all are cliffhangers. And like, I'm telling you, like I really think that when people watch the show as a whole, it's going to be the little show that no one saw coming. And I really cannot wait for more people to start talking about it, because I think it really deserves to be in the conversation. And as a piece, it's extremely cohesive. And I too just watched the 6th episode and was just so excited, because I know what 7 and 8 are bringing. And so I just can't say enough, like, you know, start watching the show now. I'm excited for everyone that gets to binge it. It's just, I'm so proud to be a part of it.
It's the timing of this is just fantastic for you, because it's going to cross right into Fire Island. Where we're going to segue into right now.
Yes.
Too. So I mean, I think, you know, I've seen it 3 times. I absolutely loved it. I loved talking to Joel and Andrew last week. They had so many great insights on it. And so just for those who need to know, and you mentioned Pride and Prejudice earlier, which was kind of great. It is directed by Andrew On and written by Joel Kim Booster. It's a gay update of Jane Austen's Pride and Prejudice set on Fire Island, which is so genius. I can barely stand it. You grew up in Long Island, or Long Island. Did you know what Fire Island was at the
Correct.
time?
So for me, when I was growing up on Long Island, Fire Island was not known as a gay destination to me. I mean, what people don't realize is that it's 90% for heterosexual people. I mean, there's Ocean Beach, there's Ocean Bay Park, there's Atlantique, there's Kismet, there's Fair Harbor, and not to say that gay people don't go there, but I think that in the public consciousness, like people think of Fire Island as like a gay island off the coast of Long Island, and that's where the gays go to party. We have the Pines, which is sort of, you know, gay male party central, honestly, as it's been known. And then we have the Cherry Grove, which is more for families. And so I think that what Fire Island is it's an exploration of the Pines and this experience of being a queer person and going for vacation there, and who the island is for, how we navigate our experiences there, which illuminate and heighten a lot of anxiety and insecurity. It's also a really fun place. You know, it's a place where group dynamics change. Time seems to work differently on the island. And so it is really an interesting exploration of class, of, you know, how people in minority groups are treated when they go to Fire Island. And that's what makes like Pride and Prejudice such a smart map onto this, because it is about desire, it is about the wanting, it is about the sexual winning and losing, it's about how relationships change when they feel like, you know, social status is at stake. There is so much in Pride and Prejudice that maps directly onto the actual experience of vacationing on Fire Island. And when I say it's an extremely direct adaptation, I mean it. I mean, all the plot points are pretty much there. I would say 95% truthful to the original story, which is both a feat in screenwriting and also directing, but also just like it's really a testament to Pride and Prejudice and Jane Austen that her work is still so applicable today to this group, just like it was to women in her time.
Yeah, I think that's why it works as updated translations, the way that like Clueless did. Sometimes even better than when you do just a straightforward adaptation of her work.
Oh, definitely.
It's you can do so much more with it. And yeah, this takes on issues of racism and body politics and consent, all within the LGBTQ plus community. Did it surprise or intimidate you at all?
You know what? It didn't intimidate me because I know that we're all capable of this. You know what I mean? I think it will surprise people who maybe know cast members and the filmmakers for certain things. Like, I think fans of Andrew On's work are not going to see this coming because it is such a funny movie and such a vibrant, like, colorful film. And I think maybe people who are fans of Joel Kim Booster's stand up are not going to see how thoughtful and intuitive the script is. And I think that people who maybe know Bowen from Saturday Night Live and his, you know, bigger, broader sketch comedy won't see the introspective acting coming. And, you know, I'm sure people that listen to my podcast are going to recognize a lot of me in the film, but also be surprised by, you know, the way a certain turn in the plot is handled as well. So I think it's a really great opportunity for us to all show people that maybe are familiar with us that there are different shades, but also to say to a really broad audience, like, this is who we are and this is what we're capable of when we're able to collaborate and given the freedom to say what we want to say, because we have a lot to say. And that's, I think, the most exciting thing about it is how many people I think it's going to introduce to a bigger audience, in terms of, you know, seeing us differently, but also just seeing us at all.
I completely agree. It's going to subvert, I think, what everybody might think about all of you, everyone that you mentioned, because I mean, really, both, you know, you and Bowen and Joel, who are really known for comedy,
Hmm.
come through with very real drama and
Thank you for saying that.
really just fantastic performances. I love it. I love all of you guys. So I'm
Thanks.
really happy for people to see it. Um, but also I wonder,
Okay.
how do you think some like Fire Island regulars are going to respond? Do you think you might have some "is this fucking play about us" moments?
Yeah, and I say this with all the love and respect in the world. I don't care what anyone thinks about it. Because I know that we are telling a story that takes place here. We are not telling the story of Fire Island. So anyone that's going to be super sensitive about the way that they feel they're depicted probably have to talk to their therapist about it and like work that out with them, because this is not a story about any one person or any one group. This is a story about, and I think this is really important actually. This is a story about a group of friends, and we as a community are not monolithic. So, while yes, representation is so important, this is not and cannot be the only representation. I mean, yes, we did the Fire Island movie, but this is not the Fire Island story. This is a story of a group of people, and it's a really dynamic group, and it's a very diverse group, and there are thousands of stories that can be told about this type of place, this type of experience. So people that are on Fire Island, like that have been going there for a while, that feel ownership over it, I totally understand. But if their energy is going to go to a negative place about it, I genuinely have no time for it and don't care at all. And I don't think anyone does. I don't think anyone does.
Well, no, you're right, because you know, Joel said that this is based on personal experiences with
Yeah.
Bowen, and then you guys are all also, you know, in real life friends, and so this is your storytelling. It's not a
it's not
monolith, like you
it's
said.
not a monolith, and I think that that's something that we as queer audiences need to remember about queer art, is that yes, we all want to strive for the best representation possible, but we have the power now and the agency now to make sure that these are not the only stories. So if you're watching something and you feel like it's not representing you, step back and say, but is this supposed to represent me? Why do I need this to represent me? Like, why can I just look at this as just a story, as art, as its own singular thing? I think that's the next place we need to get to. You know what I mean? With I Love That for You, I don't expect Darcy to be representative of every gay person in a workplace. When I play Luke in Fire Island, like, yeah, I'm sort of like representing all the messy sluts of the island, but he's not the only messy slut on that island. You know what I mean? Not everyone is going to get mixed up in what he gets mixed up in. Like,
Yeah.
and not every experience with drugs on Fire Island is going to go the way that our experience goes. You know what I mean? When people see the movie, I think I've heard a couple comments about like the drug culture and people not being comfortable with that. If you have a problem with that, you have a problem with the culture. Okay, that's not a problem with our film. And so that's, I think, what I really want to stress is that we need to zoom out and think, are the problems, are the issues, are the comments, are the successes of a certain thing due to this piece of art and the execution of this piece of art, or are we sensitive to depictions of our culture? And I
Mhm.
think that's like the next conversation we all need to have, because I think it's going to cause us to be um, less critical in a negative way of the media that we're creating and putting out, if that makes sense.
It does, because I think that's usually the goal when you're creating new LGBTQ plus content and art and material, is
Right.
pushing to the next thing. That's so absolutely
Exactly. You know, I was talking recently with Melissa Harris Perry on The Takeaway, and which is an interview I did for NPR, and she was saying, you know, it's sort of like way back, like with the Harlem Renaissance, like Black artists were expected to, you know, prove so much, and the bar was so high, and it's actually just not fair. And straight audiences don't have that. Like white male audiences don't have that. The expectations that we have to meet are so much higher, and we're all up to the task and can do it. But when it comes at the expense of other people's experience, and when it becomes just flat out baseline critic culture, because we feel we have to have something negative to say in order to move on from experiencing it,
Sure.
that's when I have to say, now, are we being too hard on ourselves and each other? Because I don't know that it's helpful.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And I don't think the film is too hard on anybody. I just think it's frank and it's honest in
It's
all of it.
Yeah, and look, that this is not to say that that just because I'm a part of something means it's perfect, and don't criticize it. You know what I mean? Like obviously, like people can have their thoughts and opinions, and that's what makes this great. That's what makes art so special and so important, is the discourse. And I am ready for any and all discourse on this film. I welcome it. It's exciting to be a part of something that makes people want to talk. But when it becomes a thing of like, you know, it can cross a certain line, and
Sure.
that's where I get sensitive and protective over the things that I'm in,
The
which I think is
discourse,
good.
the discourse is toxic.
The-
A tease again, a tease.
I'm so happy that you saw that episode before we talked today.
I know. Yeah, it like just came in yesterday. Okay, so this to wrap up as best as possible, between Las Culturistas flourishing, and I love you for that, and Fire Island, and
Yeah.
maybe something coming down the pipeline that we can't quite talk about yet, but we
Yeah,
will
maybe.
when we can. This is very much the year of Matt Rogers, and I am here for it.
Thank you. Sometimes it can feel like, because I'll just be very candid with you. Sometimes it can feel like, because I have such close friends that succeed on such a high level, that I can forget to give myself credit for my own wins. You know what I mean? Like sometimes I just feel like I have to remind myself that I am succeeding and doing a good job, and I don't have to be so hard on myself. I guess that's why I'm sensitive
Yeah.
to that's why I'm just extra sensitive. And I think that, you know, I'm so proud and excited for all of my friends that do so well. And now that I'm having this moment where I get to be in projects that I love, and I get to watch my work and feel proud of it, I just I accept that and receive you saying that, because I know that I hold myself to a very high standard, and in going forward in my work, I want to definitely continue to do that, but also take the time to just exhale, take a deep breath, and say that things are going well and I did a good job. And I think that's something I would say to everyone, because I think we live in such a compare despair culture. And when you are like really lucky, and you live under a lucky star like me, and you get to be surrounded by such brilliant people, um it's a moment where you should really take stock and just say, you know, I'll receive the good things too. I'm doing a good job too. So thank you for saying that. If I
Absolutely.
articulated that eloquently at all.
I have loved and supported your work for a long time, and
You
so
really have, and I thank
getting
you.
your flowers and giving you your flowers is
You really have. You really have, Eric, and I'm so appreciative of everything that every time we talk, and I'm a fan of
Yeah.
yours as well.
Oh, there we go. So new episodes of I Love You That For You stream every Sunday on Showtime.
They stream on Friday and they air on Sunday.
That's what I meant. They stream
Yeah.
on Friday and air on Sunday for Showtime. That's what I meant.
Yeah.
And then Fire Island is on Hulu June 3rd. And oh my God, just you can have double doses of Matt Rogers like
That'll be a really fun Friday, because that Friday, June 3rd, is the night that the 6th episode of I Love That For You comes out, and Fire Island.
Exactly. And yes,
That'll be really fun.
Yes.
Weekend.
Thank you, Matt, so much. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Eric. I adore you. Appreciate you so much.
All right. We'll talk soon.
Bye.
Bye.